Hi there, this is Lisa Becerra, certified aromatherapist, bringing you video 5 in my Safety with Common Sense video series. I do apologize for the delay in getting this video out there. I had a personal emergency that I had to attend to, and I'm actually glad about that because it allowed me to review the quality of the videos, and it seemed like there was some sound issues in the previous videos, so I hope they've been addressed with this current and future subsequent videos. So thank you for your patience, and thank you for bearing and sticking in there with me. In this video, we're going to be looking at the Tisserand Institute's adverse reaction database, and we're going to be looking into the adverse reaction report number 4. As you can see here, this is an adverse reaction using lavender, tea tree, and Helichrysum essential oils directly on the skin. The woman had decided to use these oils to help heal a burn, and she said that after applying them, she broke into a rash, and the rash spread to other parts of her body. So you can see from the pictures, this top right photo shows her arm, right? It looks like it's the inside of the arm. Possibly near the elbow or above the elbow, and you can see that it also came to her chest, up around her neck, down and around both eyes. The left eye is actually swollen, and then she also has what looks like a very telltale sign of a food allergy actually around her mouth. So I'm going to go ahead and read her accounting of this reaction in just a minute as my mouse decides to not work with me. So she's saying that she was using these 3 oils, lavender, tea tree, and Helichrysum, to treat a second-degree burn on her arm, and ended up having a horrible skin reaction after just a few applications. She says the burn she was treating was caused by a soldering iron, and these photos that we just went through were taken a couple weeks after beginning the use of the oils. The rash began around the burn, and as I, meaning her, continued to treat the rash, I began to have more severe reactions that spread to her chest and her face. She says after beginning to have the skin reactions, she was told she was detoxing and probably had candida that was causing the rashes. And she was told to try a certain cleansing product offered by the company. And she was asked, as part of this cleanse, she was taking essential oils in capsules internally. She was taking herbal cleansing supplements, drinking lemon in her water, and continuing to treat the rashes with undiluted oils. She says that all of this continued for several months, and she was very ill. She had so stomach issues, yeast infections, and she was covered in rashes before she came to her senses and realized what was happening. Okay, I'm going to skip down here. She says that she has sensitive skin, and she's had reactions to fragrances and sulfates prior, but she's never had any reactions like this. Okay, part of the cleansing protocol she followed was suggested by her upline, and she was receiving a certain massage technique treatment from her upline to help with her detoxing process. Okay, she's saying currently if she uses lavender or Helichrysum oils, that she has a rash, and it appears within just a couple of hours, and it takes several weeks before it clears up. Okay, it starts as hives, gets incredibly itchy, then it swells and the redness comes in, and she has to use a steroid cream to calm down the reaction. And now she also says she has sensitive skin, again, and has had these reactions before, and the swelling around her eyes is similar to a reaction she had to a sulfa-based eye drop for conjunctivitis as a child. So there's a lot more in this personal account than simply the use of 3 oils. But there's 3 things that I want to point out in this video with you. And the 3 things are going to be sensitive skin. We're gonna talk a little bit about uplines, and then the best practices of treating a health concern with essential oils. So the first thing is sensitive skin, and if you have watched my previous videos, even though the sound quality is poor, especially the 3rd video on dilution, the 3rd spoke of essential oil safety, you will know that I advocate for not only diluting essential oils when you're using them topically on your skin, but I also advocate for patch skin testing, skin patch testing. So if you're going to be using essential oils on yourself or with others, you want to do a skin patch test. So I've got my lavender, my Helichrysum, and my melaleuca. This is tea tree oil. So I'm going to take my oil that's opened, and I'm going to apply it to a sensitive part of my skin on the inside of my wrist and on the inside of my elbow. Okay. And I'm going to rub that in with one finger. That was the melaleuca, the tea tree. Now I'm going to do the Helichrysum. I'm going to rub that in with another finger. And then I'm going to do the lavender. I love the smell of Helichrysum. It's so sweet. Sweet and tart, just like an apple. Okay, so I have my melaleuca, I have my Helichrysum, and I have my lavender. Now that I have those oils on me, I would go ahead and watch for the next 15 to 30 minutes if there was an adverse reaction. So I'm looking for redness, I'm looking for bumps, I'm looking for itchiness, I'm looking for warmth or burning sensation, right? And then silly me, what else do I need, right, with me if I'm doing this, is my carrier oil, right, and then my cloth. So I can dab. Okay, so carrier oil. So if there's any of those sensations, I'm going to immediately open my carrier oil and douse it on, and then I'm going to use my cloth and I'm going to rub, pat it off. I'm not going to rub, but I'm going to dab it off. Okay? If there are no reactions, then that means that I could use these 3 oils in a dried layering approach, meaning I could apply the lavender, let it dry completely, then I could apply the melaleuca, let that dry completely, and I can apply the Helichrysum and let that dry completely. She was using the 3 together as a blend, which means, especially because she has sensitive skin, that she should do an additional skin patch test. And this may seem like overkill, but when you have sensitive skin, just like when you have a food allergy, if you are allergic to peanuts, chances are you're going to make sure that any other nut you're consuming isn't going to have a allergic reaction, right? So you're going to do everything necessary to make sure that you're not going to have that allergic reaction. And if you have several allergies, you are also going to be very cautious about what you're consuming. So we need to do the same thing with our skin, with sensitive skin. We need to be very cautious. We need to be empowered to not put something on our skin that we don't know is safe. Whether this is a cleanser, whether this is a lotion, whether it's a cream, whether it's a soap, or other personal care product, or it's another product we're using for something else. We want to make sure we're not putting something on our skin that's going to cause an adverse reaction. So that's why we're patch testing. Now, I know that I'm not going to be positive for any of these three because I use these three all the time, okay? But if I've never used them in combination with each other, I want to do a skin patch test to see if, when I'm combining all of these unique chemical constituents within the oils, because remember, some of these essential oils can have hundreds of unique chemical constituents within them. And when we're combining them, it's only natural that there may be chemical reactions. As we're applying and we're combining chemicals in science class, right, we can remember chemistry, there's always a type of reaction that happens. So we want to make sure that that reaction happening is not going to cause skin sensitivity, okay? So what we would do there is we would go ahead and put on a third part of our body, right? We would put the drop of one, the drop of the other, and the drop of the third. And then we would go ahead and rub that in. Okay, and obviously if you're using more than one drop, it's going to take up a bigger area, so I would recommend doing those on the inside of your elbow. And then this would sit for 15 to 30 minutes to see, are you feeling any tickling, any itching, any burning, any warmth, is there any redness, and are there any hives? And again, if there are, right away you're going to apply your carrier oil, you're going to get your cloth, and you're going to dab it off, okay? And if you are having a skin reaction to any of the essential oils, this is not, it should not be viewed as your body is cleansing. It should be viewed as this is not an essential oil you should be using. There are many essential oils that do similar things. So if you can't use lavender because you're having a reaction, you can maybe use basil. It also has a lot of linalool in it. If you can't use melaleuca, you might be able to use frankincense, right? Depending on what you're using it for, it can all, have using similar properties. If you can't use Helichrysum, you might use Roman chamomile. So there are lots of essential oils that you can interchange if one essential oil is causing you a problem. And that's really, really good to know, to empower you, because what works for me might not work for you, and what works for your friend might not work for you, and what's worked for your upline might not work for you. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind, especially if you have sensitive skin. You need to feel empowered to find what works for you and your skin. Okay, so that leads me to the point that she made here regarding her upline. Now, I am a doTERRA wholesale advocate, so a wellness advocate. So I have a wholesale account with them, and I am building a business with them using their products. Now, there are many multi-level marketing companies out there that sell essential oils. Some of them, this is their main product, their main focus, like doTERRA, like Young Living. Some of them it's not, such as Arbonne. Essential oils are a very high trending product right now. You've seen in the last few years tons of companies springing up offering essential oils, and you've probably seen essential oils offered in other retail locations where they haven't been offered prior. So it's very important, like I said in the very first video on this, that you are getting your essential oils from a trusted source. So you're trusting the purity and the quality and the potency of the oils that you're using. And just like that, you want to make sure that you're trusting the source of essential oil information that you're using. So you may love your sister-in-law, you may love your aunt, but if they don't know the information about the essential oils, you might want to find somebody else who does. And if somebody is telling you something about an essential oil, they should be able to back up what they're saying. So for instance, if I'm talking to a client about an essential oil that I would like them to consider using, I'm going to tell them why, what's in the oil, what is the chemical constituents that I think are going to help them, how have I used it in the past to have really good effects. When I do my case studies, right, I'm constantly having to research the specific chemical constituents and how it's helpful within the client and the different reactions clinical trials have had using the essential oils for that specific health concern. So there's lots of literature available. You don't want to get your information, from Google, just Googling something, because anybody can put up a website, anybody can put up a blog and talk about essential oils. But if it's not something that's peer-reviewed, if it's not something that has evidence-based protocols or practices, or at the very least, right, traditional generational use of the essential oil for that specific condition and concern, then you want to be leery, right? So just make sure that wherever you're getting your essential oil information, that you trust the source and that their sources are trustworthy. Okay, I know within my doTERRA organization, there is nobody in there that would be recommending using oils in a non-safe, non-effective way. I know there is nobody in there that would recommend to somebody having a reaction like this woman had to continue using oils rather than to pause. And so that kind of leads me to the third point that I wanted to bring up within this video, is this woman started with addressing a burn, healing a burn, which essential oils can be very effective in healing a burn. And then she was told that she had candida, and she started a totally different protocol to help treat the candida. And to me, as a aromatherapist, it doesn't quite make sense to start a new protocol for a non-pressing, non-acute condition when you haven't finished the protocol for the original health concern. So the burn is acute. It just happened and she wants immediate relief. Candida, she's probably had that her whole entire life, because a lot of times we get our candida from our mothers during the birthing process. So there's nothing wrong with waiting to treat the candida if that is what she had, but that's what they're suspecting, right? So there's nothing wrong with treating the candida after the burn has resolved. So anytime that you are looking to address a health concern using essential oils, it is far better to stick with one health concern at a time rather than to try to treat multiple health concerns at one time. Now, many people have chronic conditions that they are treating and using essential oils for, and then they have acute conditions that come up, and that's different. So if she were already treating her candida and then she got the burn, it would make sense then to say, hey, you can use your essential oils to help with your burn. But then the candida was already being treated. So when you have an acute condition that you are addressing with an essential oil, don't start treating a chronic or long-standing condition at the same time. Finish your acute concern, get that resolved, and then treat another, the long-standing condition secondarily. Okay? And then this will ensure that what you're seeing matches what you're trying to do. So if she had not gone into this crazy candida cleansing protocol where she's taking oils internally, probably causing the reaction around her lips and even her eyes because the oils are right there. If she hadn't been doing massage techniques using different oils, so she's using oils in her water, she's taking oils internally, she has oils applied on her back, and then she's also continuing to use these oils on the rash. She's using a lot of essential oils at one time that her body isn't used to. She has sensitive skin, and it's just going haywire. So I want to just empower you within this, and this is why I chose to start with this specific report, is that you know your body. Listen to your body. When you're using essential oils, the cure should not be worse than the condition you're treating. There may be a slight increase in discomfort as you're massaging a sore, tender area. Some oils are warming, but none of them should be burning. So just listen to those common sense things and stop using an essential oil if you are experiencing an adverse reaction. Reach out to the person who told you about it. Reach out to me so we can help you find a solution that works for your unique health concern and your unique body.
Mama.
Okay? So have a blessed day,
Mama.
and oil away.